alongside Fernando Sucre, as always. We're here to talk about quite a bit of things today. It's been a busy week for Mizzou sports. You got football going, you got basketball going. The Kansas City Chiefs just played the Broncos. We'll talk about that later. And then today, as you see the green lights in my room, you might be wondering why in the world does a 22-year-old have LED lights? I don't know. But why are they green? It's because the New York Jets benched Justin Fields in America, including me, is celebrating. It's a great day to be a New York Jets fan, said no one ever. Anyways, let's get straight into it, Fernando. Obviously, Eli Drinkwitz, we're gonna get straight into this. Yesterday, Eli Drinkwitz has his press conference, and let's just say it created quite a bit of controversy. I think that's safe to say. I think it created a lot of conversations on message boards, things of that nature. Drinkwitz, in his opening statement, which was much longer than normal, talked about the comments he made with NIL with Tom Hart in the pre-production meeting. He talked about the idea of, you know, kind of the outside noise, all the speculation. Like if you're a Mizzou fan, you know dang well that there's a lot of talk about Eli Drinkwitz potentially moving on after the season. There's no smoke to that yet. There is nothing set in stone. We do not know. Nobody knows what's going to happen after the season because there's nothing in concrete. Eli said he hasn't, he hadn't signed an extension yet. Eli said that he hasn't, like he hadn't said for sure that he's staying or that he's leaving. So nobody really knows. It's kind of up in the air. Eli addressed that yesterday. He said he loves what he's building at Mizzou, and he's happy with how far they've come. He has great alignment with President Moon Choi and things of that nature. But a lot to talk about with that because there's just so much fan uproar, which I find so funny because I mean, if you went into that press conference and you thought, I'm just looking for things to listen to that indicate that Eli Drinkwitz is saying, that's probably what you heard. But if you came into that press conference thinking, I'm looking for things that indicate that Eli Drinkwitz is leaving, that is probably what you heard. So, very interesting press conference yesterday. Fernando, did you get to see kind of any of the quotes from Eli yesterday or any of the fan interaction on Twitter? What do you kind of make of the situation going on with Eli Drinkwitz and kind of just all the noise going around about, coaching rumors and all that nature?
Yeah, a few things to think about. To me, one thing that people need to understand: there's currently a coaching carousel going on. Big jobs were lost, and people are just throwing names out there. What I don't understand is, um, in the news, it was mentioned that Drink was, I believe, 0-13 against ranked teams. And to me, I'm thinking, okay, we're gonna have a discussion about coaching carousel. Why is the guy that's 0-13 against ranked team in the conversation? Obviously, uh, I want Drink to stay. I would like him to continue with the program and with what he is currently building. I think there's a lot of noise. Nothing has stuck. I personally, props to him. His media training is uh, the highest level, because I remember talking to you about this, and I was like, well, he didn't say he was leaving, and then you were like, well, watch the quote again or listen to the video again, and I'm like, actually, you're right. He never said I am not leaving. Period. So he got me on that one, So his media training is next level. But what I dislike about that is it kind of leaves it open ended for other people in the sense that uh, now we're having this conversation. Is he leaving? Is he not leaving? Um, I don't know. So we'll see. Because I know the conversation was, oh, he can either go to Penn State or he can go to Florida. And again, I go back to, like, why would Florida or Penn State spend that kind of money on Drink that he's currently working on improving the team and working on, in this case, beating ranked teams. So I look at like a Lane Kiffin, currently employed, but he's like the hot commodity where word industry is they're gonna open the piggy bank and he can go to Florida, and he has some Florida ties, so it realistically makes some type of sense. So there's a lot to
Yeah.
think about. There's a lot of noise, but again, I just think about it. Why is he like one of the conversations? Because all of a sudden, it looks like it's Missouri's fault that we have not defeated a ranked team when really, obviously, the head coach is. So that's the part I'm like, I just don't understand.
Yeah. Yeah, I think it makes sense of it too. Like this is all open ended. Like you said, like it's a situation that nobody knows the answer to yet. I don't even think Eli Drinkwitz knows the answer to what he's going to do. I think that's also why it's so open ended. I think if Eli knew for sure what he was going to do, maybe if he knew for sure he was leaving, I don't think he would say that. But if he knew for sure he was staying, I think he would say something like that. But I mean, it's kind of fair. I think Eli is keeping his options open to some degree. And I mean, if Penn State was calling me or Florida, like, you at least have to look at those offers and ask yourself if those are better jobs, what's the money look like, things of that nature. I mean, that's probably why it is the way it is. But you bring up the 0-13 record. I don't know if that accounts for beating teams when they were ranked or beating teams when they were ranked, but maybe they don't finish the season ranked. I know he's 0-6 in his last top 25 games, but nonetheless, like I think the reason why he's on boards is Mizzou just sucked when he like got there. Like they were
Hmm.
coming off the Barry Odom tenure, and Barry Odom wasn't a horrible coach, but he was mediocre at best. If we're honest, I think they finished 7-5, 6-6 most years with Barry Odom. I think they had a 4-8 year littered in there, or 5-7, something like that. But Barry Odom wasn't a great coach. Eli Drinkwitz hasn't been like amazing, but I mean, 2 10-win seasons in a row at the University of Missouri will put you on the map, and I think that's why there's so much speculation about him leaving. I think another point, and I think Eli brought this up, also these betting sites that drop these, betting odds for next head coach. Like Eli Drinkwitz has been on several of those as the number one option, by the way, especially with Penn State. And nobody knows if Eli Drinkwitz is actually the number one option. That's just what the betting odds are pushing. So nobody really knows where he stands with a lot of these jobs. Eli could not be the number one option on any job currently. He could be the number one option on a few. We don't really know. We know for certain that LSU and Florida both want Lane Kiffin. We both know that, right? Lane Kiffin went to Baton Rouge, and I think Lane Kiffin went to Gainesville as well. So we know for certain that that's at least a discussion to be had with Lane Kiffin potentially leaving Ole Miss for one of those jobs. So that takes Eli Drinkwitz's name off that board if that job gets filled. But also then it's a revolving door, right? If Ole Miss opens, who's to say Eli Drinkwitz won't be number one on that job? So
Yeah.
who knows? Who knows really right now? I thought another interesting comment he made at the press conference was the NIL conversation, right? He kind of clarified, he talked to Tom Hart in a pre-production meeting, and he was just talking about like this idea that Missouri has the top, like, cream of the crop NIL funds is just not exactly true, right? Like they do fine NIL wise, but they need more, essentially, is what he was saying, if we're putting it blunt. I found that comment very interesting because Missouri lost to Alabama by 3 points. Missouri lost to Vanderbilt, who it definitely has more NIL money than. So, kind of giving my thoughts on it, my personal thoughts, I think that's a little bogus. I think more money helps Missouri, absolutely, but Missouri has enough NIL to compete. I mean, they literally just spent $250 million on a North End Zone project. What do you make of those comments by Eli Drinkwitz about the money situation? Do you think it's more of a kind of a cop out to losing these games that Eli kind of got criticism for, or do you think there's, some smoke to that and saying, hey, maybe Missouri does need more money to compete?
I really think to me, I see it as a cop out. I really think that when you're having interviews like that, it's important from the media side as a coach for you to take responsibility for those things. And I don't think he meant to come across this way, but I felt like he was blaming something else rather than saying like, "Hey, we need to be better" or whatever the case is. And I think to his credit, it's hard because the way college football is now, it definitely feels like a free agency situation where you're trying to build a team to be successful. So you get the pieces, while the season is happening. There's a certain part of like of the staff where you feel like a certain obligation to keep those players happy. So there's a lot of pressure on that end. But I agree. I think it's a cop out, and um, I mean, to your point, they were one drive away from at least tying Alabama.
Yeah, yeah, no, I just heard that comment and I initially thought I'm like, man, like Missouri is 2 games away from being what would they be right now? I mean, they're 7-3, they'd be 9-1 if they win those
Right.
2 games versus Alabama, Vanderbilt.
They
Missouri would
were
have college football playoffs in sight, right?
they
So
were one drive away, and then they were a half a yard away from winning one game. So
yeah, yeah, I thought those comments were a little bogus, and I'm not saying like Eli's completely wrong either. Like I think that goes for any school. If you can get more money, the better. The more money you can pay for your roster, the better. The more talent you're hypothetically going to have, right? But we watch teams like Alabama, right? Alabama's got money, endless amounts of
right,
money. Texas too. Texas, look at where Texas is at this year. Look at where they are. I'm not saying that money's not important, but what I am saying is that money is not the end all be all. There also has to be terrific coaching with that. And that's not a slight on Eli Drinkwitz. I don't think he's a bad coach at all. I think he's a very good coach. He's taken Missouri from something where it was kind of at the bottom of the SEC to now one of the consistent contenders, at least for the college football playoff. Missouri is usually in that conversation now. At least the last 2 seasons, they've been on the precipice. So they're scratching the surface from going good to great. He also mentioned that. He said that's the hardest jump to make, that the college football playoffs cannot just be your sole goal for the season, which created a lot of controversy, but I quite frankly agree with him in some ways with that. But yeah, there's been a lot of talk about Eli Drinkwitz recently and the NIL stuff because nobody knows. And when you have a situation that nobody knows about, it's going to create a lot of conversation. But moving on a little bit, Fernando, the Missouri Tigers did play a football game on Saturday. It was quite exciting for Missouri. They basically got bullied the previous week, and then they said, you know what? We're going to go beat up on our little brother, you know, to make ourselves feel better. Ahmad Hardy ran for 300 yards. The Missouri defense, by the way, had 2 pick sixes, which is the second time in Missouri football history. I asked Marvin Burks about that, about the 2 interceptions, and he said, "Yeah, like we just kind of were flying around all night, and it was 2 St. Louis players that did it, right? Marvin Burks and Toriano Pride Jr. So really notable game. Obviously, Ahmad Hardy is the talk of this game. 300-yard performance. What did you make of his performance? Did you feel like all of a sudden he just played better? Do you think the line play was better, or a combination of a bunch of different things?
well, number one, I talked to a friend of mine about this, but the speed that Hardy had in that game was insane. And I don't know, maybe I'm crazy, but I felt like he was so much faster this game. And I felt like the schemes were better. His blocking schemes were better. And I think conventional, like if someone watches the game, the popular opinion would be like, well, Mississippi State is a weaker rival, so of course the O line played better. And I think that's when you think about the running back position, it's so reliant on having a good O line. And when the line was working great, holy smokes, he ran for 300 yards. So that was awesome. The Missouri defense. I'm not surprised by anything that happened. I think the Missouri
Yeah.
defense has been playing on a championship level the entire season. They had a couple of hiccups on the secondary towards the beginning of the season. That was cleaned up, and you see good sixes. The Missouri defense is the reason why, in my opinion, they have won 7 games this season. The game from Zollers was of expected. Uh, he threw the ball a little bit more. He needs a little bit more experience, but I felt like they were a lot more guarded on him, and I thought it was great because I felt like they gave him the opportunity to succeed. Um, their offense is very, 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 very run heavy, and when the run is working, by all means, I love it. But when it doesn't work, it makes it a lot more difficult for Zollers to throw the ball. So my only critique from the offense is they need to have a different strategy when they go to Oklahoma, because they have one of the top running defense in the nation, and if Hardy's gonna get stopped, they gotta figure something else out.
Yeah. Yeah, I mean, thinking ahead to Oklahoma a little bit, like, obviously on this Mississippi State game still, like, Ahmad Hardy runs for 300 yards, and quite frankly, like, I don't think Mizzou did anything too differently. I just think Mississippi State had the 117th worst run defense in college football. Like, that was just, hey, we're bigger than you, we're stronger than you, we're faster than you. And I think that was the game for Missouri that whole entire time. Oklahoma is a tremendous defense. They've got guys everywhere. I mean, Oklahoma allowed Alabama to 21 points on the road, right? It's a defense that blitzes a lot. Brent Venables is a terrific, terrific play caller over there at Oklahoma, and he's a defensive minded head coach. And that's kind of what their identity is. So, yeah, I mean, I think just going from playing Mississippi State to Oklahoma, that's a big, big jump, right? Also, looking ahead to Oklahoma, the Missouri quarterback situation's in the air. Like Bo Prabula warmed up, and we kind of all thought in the press box, like, oh my gosh, is there a chance that like they're gonna pull a Brady Cook situation and play Bo Prabula, even though he was doubtful on the injury report, and then he got listed out at 5:15. So we all kind of thought he might play. And then in the press conference, Drinkwitz noted that Bo Prabula has been practicing. Right, the situation is going to be evaluated throughout the week, but he does anticipate Matt Zollers to play. So my question to you, Fernando, looking ahead to this Oklahoma game this weekend, would you rather Bo Prabula play in this game, or at this point, do you think Missouri should just play Matt Zollers and stick that out?
I think honestly, I would prefer Pribula. He's a more experienced quarterback, whatever that means. I know his real experience has been with Missouri Tigers, but it has not been like aside from that, he hasn't had that much experience. So, and he's had successful games, and he knows how to play some a road game. So I prefer him, and uh, I know the offensive coordinator. I mean, he built the offense around him as well. So
Yeah. Yeah, no, that's fair. I think I agree with you. Like, part of me would love to see Matt Zollers get thrown into a game like this and just learn. Like,
mhm.
it probably is going to be ugly if Matt Zollers plays. Like, I don't care who plays quarterback for Missouri. I'm not picking Missouri to win this game. But Matt Zollers, if he plays, I fully expect it to be kind of ugly. Like throwing a
Yeah.
true freshman into Norman, Oklahoma, who, by the way, they beat Oklahoma last year. That's going to add fire to this game, right? This
Mhm.
was a rivalry in the Big 12. Before Missouri left to the SEC, this was a rivalry. Now, it was very one sided. Oklahoma dominates the rivalry. I think they've won like 70 games to 23 or something like that. But for Mizzou, if you throw Matt Zollers into this situation, he might throw an interception or two or three. Like let's hope not, but that could be the reality. And
And
obviously
and
Bo Prabula, yeah, go ahead.
and I was gonna say with Pribula, you basically activate Kevin Coleman, because I know with Zollers they've kind of struggled connecting together, but Pribula and Coleman are one, and you can activate screen passes, slants, and use him a lot more than what he has been used on Zollers.
Yeah. Yeah, no, that's fair. I kind of want to see Because here's the thing that I think you get with each quarterback. Let's start with Zollers. What you get out of Matt Zollers is you get Zollers throwing one-on-one deep balls to Donovan Olubade. That can give your offense a spark, right? But we don't really know. With Perbula, you get the connection with Kevin Coleman Jr. back, and you get the added dimension of potentially running the ball. Now, I don't know how effective he's going to be coming off of an injury. It kind of sounds like maybe he's not fully healthy if they're not sure if he's going to play this Saturday. I guess we'll see. But that's kind of the difference you get with the two. So I don't think that there's really a difference between the two and how they play this game. Because think about it, I don't think Bo Perbula has been on the road in too many hostile environments other than Wisconsin when he was at Penn State and Auburn. Vanderbilt was not that hostile, in my opinion. So I don't know. I think I agree with you. I prefer that Bo Perbula plays this game, no doubt. But I guess we'll see. But what do you think, Fernando? Like, I mean, we don't have to break it down too much other than the fact that Oklahoma has John Mateer, right? Their
Hmm.
whole entire offense runs through John Mateer. Oklahoma has a really good defense, and this is going to be a rock fight if Missouri wants to win it. I think it's got to be like a super duper 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 low scoring game. Like Missouri's defense has to play phenomenal. Like it has to be like 13-10 Missouri if they
Yeah, I
win.
agree.
So what do you think? G- Just give me off the dome like your prediction. What do you think of this game?
I'll give you two predictions. If Prebula plays, I'm gonna say 16-13 Missouri. If Zoll
Wow.
if Zollers plays, it'll be a 31-17 Oklahoma.
Okay. That's very interesting. I'll give you my two. Bo Perbula plays. Oklahoma's going to win this game 19-13. And I think if Zollers plays, Missouri will lose 28-10.
Holy
I
smokes. No
I
mercy.
I I don't think Missouri wins this game no matter who plays quarterback. Because that's just the observation, right? Like Missouri almost lost to Auburn on the road, and not saying that Auburn's like a horrible, horrible football team, but we have learned that Auburn's not very good, right? Auburn's not that good. Missouri should have probably beat them a little bit more than they did, right? Going on the road against an Oklahoma team that, by the way, just beat Alabama, like literally just beat Alabama on the road. They've got all the momentum in the world. It could get ugly. It could. And I'm not
Yeah.
trying to be the bearer of bad news there, but I said the same thing about the A&M game. Like, could get ugly. And
Yeah.
I just don't know if Missouri had two losses, I think this would be a different game because I think Missouri would still know what it's playing for. Missouri has three losses, and I'm not saying they can't conjure up things to play for. Like they can say, "Oh, we're playing for the seniors. We want to give them, a big road win to end the season." That's a lot different than, "Hey, college football playoffs are still in our grasp," right? They are no longer in Missouri's grasp. Like
Right.
they don't have huge things to play for right now.
Yeah.
Oklahoma does. Oklahoma
Yeah.
does. So I just think whoever plays quarterback, it's not going to matter. I do think it is closer with Perbula. I think Perbula gives them the best chance to win, despite me still holding to the idea that I think Matt Zollers is more talented. But talent only gets you so far with a lack of experience. So I guess we're going to find out on Saturday. But Fernando, it is time. It is time. One of my favorite parts of the podcast. Fernando, Chiefs lost 22-19. And I want to say before anything, I said the Chiefs would win. I look like an idiot, okay? Because in my mind I was like, "You know what? I want to make Fernando happy. I'm going to pick the Chiefs." I'm not trying to be that guy, but I did pretty much think the Broncos were going to win this game. So, not to be that guy.
Yeah, I was sad about it. I purposely did not watch any sports news for a day. because everybody's dancing on the Chiefs' graves right now, and I don't know. I'm kind of like over that because I'm currently working on an article that talks about like the the fanhood, the cycles of fanhood. Like how a team becomes a dynasty and everybody hates them, and I'm just trying to gather my thoughts, and I'm using the Chiefs as my data sample, for lack of a better term. And
Mhm.
yeah, to answer your question, I watched the game, and the O line struggled. Simmons, he came back and he was out for a month. He had the family issues he was working with, and he came back, and I think it's a hard ask for him to get back, and him being in good game shape. So I think I expect him to be better next week, this week against the Colts. But the O line struggled, and I think Mahomes was running a lot again. And I think when the O line is struggling, the passing is not working, and the signs of when Mahomes tries to extend a play for many years, he got away with it and created great plays. The game against the Denver Broncos, he extended some plays. There was like an interception that he was like on the 20-yard line, and he extended the play because again he ran out of time. He forced the pass to the running back, and there was a safety in there, and he picked it off. You know, so
Yeah.
so he's trying to force some plays, and I know I was watching some of Andy Reid's comments about the game, and I forgot his exact quote, but he basically implied that he was calling some running plays, and Mahomes was changing them to passes. So I don't know if there's trouble in paradise. So yeah,
Wow.
that's what's going on with Kansas City.
Yeah.
My expectations this year is a wild card game, probably an away game. I'm thinking I originally was saying the Bills, but it looks like the Patriots are running with the division, so I could
Yeah.
see a Patriots Chiefs game in Foxborough in January. That's good. That's where my head is at
Yeah.
the moment.
Yeah. It's funny that you bring up that quote from Andy Reid about changing run plays to pass plays because I was going to say this. Now, I am no expert on Chiefs football because I'm currently stuck in the misery that I live in with the New York Jets. But let me say this. I think the lack of a run game is severely hurting the Kansas City Chiefs. I think that tells you all you need to know, right, about Mahomes checking out from run plays. I think if you were to get a real quote from Mahomes, not a media trained quote, this is speculation, by the way. This is just hearsay. But I think if you were to ask Mahomes, do you trust your run game? Do you think with full certainty he would say yes?
Probably not, and I think because currently the Chiefs have an aging Kareem Hunt. Then we have a rookie as his backup, and Pacheco. Yes, he's hurt, but he has not been the same. And I don't know. I want to be able to understand Brett Veach mindset on missing out on Bruce Hall. Clearly, he wanted to leave the Jets, and now he's on a go kart in his
Yep.
in the locker room playing around because clearly he has no interest to provide
He's
any
checked out.
value to the Jets.
Yeah. No, that's very fair. I I just think like because here's the outside looking in, right? I am not a Chiefs fan, but I did grow up watching the Chiefs, and I was a diehard Chiefs fan growing up. So I could tell you all about the history of the Kansas City Chiefs. And I've watched the Chiefs up until about 2020 is when I became a New York Jets fan. This is what I think has been happening. I think the Chiefs have been content with what they have because it's been working. But not everything that's been working stays that way. And I think what's been working for the Kansas City Chiefs, it worked for them last year. They were content with close games where they would
Mm-hmm.
win in the end. But now they're struggling to do that, right? They're struggling to do that. They are 5-5, and now the readjusting expectations comes into play. right? We talk about, hey, what looked like a team that could have made the divisional round, well, now it's a wild card team. And that's not a bad thing because I think the Chiefs can make a playoff run because they are the Chiefs. Like that's the expectation.
Right.
That's the standard for the Kansas City Chiefs now, quite frankly. Right? If they do anything less than make a playoff run to the AFC Championship game, it is a disappointment. But now I think it's starting to catch up to them. There's really they have good receivers, don't get me wrong. They don't got elite receivers. They don't have horrible running backs. They don't have good running backs, right? So I think
Hmm.
some of the things that they were content with, and Mahomes was able to bail them out several
Right.
times,
I agree.
right? And I'm not saying Mahomes has regressed. I don't think he has. But you can only play hero ball for so long. You can only play hero ball for so long. And I think Mahomes has been playing hero ball for quite some time. That's not to say he hasn't had a top 10 defense to back him up because he certainly has. The Chiefs' defense is phenomenal in about every aspect. But now you're getting to the point where if you roll into the offseason this year and the Chiefs lose in the divisional round, that's when you're like, okay, we don't need to go in rebuild mode, but we do need to think about how are we going to restructure this team. That's just kind of my thoughts from the outside looking in. I don't know if you have similar thoughts about that. That's just what I think of when I think of where the Chiefs are at now, because I think you kind of could see it coming in some ways, but you weren't quite sure because it's the Chiefs. Like I use
Hmm.
that line a lot. It's the Chiefs. Like we
Yeah. Right.
expect them to win, but I don't know. I don't know what your thoughts are on that, quite frankly.
Yeah, and I agree. I feel like they have gone away with barely winning, and that was the theme last year. And now it's the opposite. It was very telling from the body language of the players. That last drive, Denver drove all the way. It felt like they thought something was just going to happen, where like like a
Yeah,
fumble or a missed field goal, what something was going to happen where they got the ball back, and rather than I don't know, like I do think they respect their rivals, but generally speaking, regardless who they play, it seems like they just think something's going to happen. And I think you almost got to go back to basics. It's like, hey, we're playing a football game. We just got to get we Kansas City just needs to get the small things right. And it seems
yeah,
like they've lost that because right now the expectation is, for Mahomes to throw 400 yards with 4 touchdowns, and that hasn't been happening, and I think the Denver game was a very telling thing that in order for those wide receivers to pull the numbers that they did in the other games, the O line needs to work at the very best of their ability. Because if Mahomes had no time, nothing's going to happen.
yeah, yeah. I mean, I don't know much about mock drafts right now because I do eventually do start my mock drafts later in the year. If I'm the Kansas City Chiefs, at least at this current moment, I'm drafting a receiver or a running back. Like,
I think
give
we
this
have enough
guy.
receivers. I think we need a
You
running
think
back.
so?
Yeah.
Because I don't think they get a running back in the draft. I think they're going to do that from free agency. That's my only thing. Like, I don't know much about this running back class. I think Jeremiah Love is available this year, but like the Chiefs aren't going to have a pick for Jeremiah Love. So that's the
Yeah.
guy that everyone's going to want. But other than that,
Right.
I don't know much about the running back
Brees Hall.
class. I have to look. Yeah, literally. I mean, Brees Hall does not want to be a New York Jet. You can't convince me he does, and I don't blame him.
Right.
Why would you want to be a New York Jet, right? Right
Right.
now, at least. Um, I mean, the organization has been in turmoil for quite some time.
Hmm.
So, yeah, I mean, that's just a little tidbit on the New York Jets. I know nobody comes to listen to me rant about the worst franchise in the NFL, but I mean, that's kind of the situation. I was shocked when the Chiefs did not get him. Um, I think the asking price for a third round was actually a very good deal,
It
and
was very reasonable for
shocked.
sure. Yeah.
I'm very shocked that the Chiefs didn't do it. I was like, man, like a third round for a caliber of Brees Hall. I think Brees is more so worth a second. And I thought, okay, well, they're absolutely going to get this done. and then they didn't, and that was quite shocking. So
And here's the thing, though, like Kansas City is not like one player away from winning the Super Bowl. I think I just think it's like a team issue, and
yeah,
uh, I don't think you're saying this, but a lot of people online are treating this like we're just one player away, and I feel like as a Chiefs fan, overall things need to change.
yeah, yeah. Do you think it's a culture issue at this point? Do you think the Chiefs have gotten a little too confident? Is that kind of what you're thinking?
I think so. I think they got to go back to 2019 and just kind of do a revisit how they felt. I still remember that Titans game. I believe it was the Titans where they were losing, uh, and then they made a big old comeback in halftime. And I don't know. I think
Yeah,
you just become numb when you like win so much. And I remember I was
yeah,
watching the Patriots documentary, and when they like won the I forgot however many Super Bowl they had, and I believe it was the Falcons won. They were kind of out of it, but they just somehow they won.
yeah, yeah. I mean, eventually, like the hunger goes away, right? Like if you're seeking your first Super Bowl championship, like, it's a little different than getting your 3rd or getting your 4th, like, at that
Right.
point, it's like, "Oh, like, this is another thing that I can attain. That's cool, but I've already done it." Right? And I
Here,
think the Chiefs have lost that hunger.
here's my quote: have the Chiefs become very Hollywood? I don't know.
Yeah. Who knows? I don't know. I mean, I don't think the Chiefs are one player away. I do think they're probably a couple, but, I mean, I do think there is a little bit of a mindset change needed, right? Like, I mean, it's like watching the Patriots, man. Like, I remember the Patriots playing the Titans at home in the playoffs. Tom Brady throws the interception, and that cemented the end of it. Do I think this is necessarily the end of the Chiefs' reign? Not necessarily. Like, I still think they're contenders, absolutely. But it's kind of shifted away, at least at the current moment where the Chiefs stand at 5-5. You're kind of sitting away from saying, "Hey, this is the team," right? There's a lot of up and coming teams. People talk about the Eagles all the time. People talk about the Lions. Like, there's all these teams that are kind of up and coming. The Bills, obviously, everyone wants the Bills to win until they lose to Kansas City in the playoffs inevitably. But I mean, yeah, I don't know. I mean,
Yeah.
I keep thinking that the Chiefs are gonna turn into the Chiefs at some point, and, it's funny because it looked that way for a second, right? They beat the Commanders, they beat the Raiders. Now, I do think fans kinda overreacted. Like, I think even I myself was like, "Oh, they kinda look normal again." Well, to be fair, it was the Commanders and the Raiders. Like,
They're a bad team,
there's
right?
not much to say about that.
And
So,
and even when they win against the Ravens were not doing well then. So there's that.
no, they were so injured in that
Yeah.
game, like so injured. So, yeah, I don't know, but I I I guess my honest thoughts are I don't think the Chiefs are like done,
Hmm.
but if they lose their next game and they fall below 500 for the first time in who knows how long, at least at this stage in the season. I know maybe there were scenarios where they were 1-2 or 2-3, but if you're 11 games in and you're below 500, that is territory the Chiefs have not seen in a while. So that's going to be a very, very, very interesting online discourse, I think.
Yeah.
Yeah. But who do they have in the next game? Is it the
And
is
the
it the Colts
Colts at
at
Arrowhead.
home?
Yeah.
Okay, that's good for them. That's at least an advantage for
Yeah.
sure.
Yeah, they play well in Arrowhead, so we'll see how that goes.
Yeah, we'll definitely have to watch that game. Um, but yeah, I mean, is there anything else you want to add, Ferd?
Well, I know this is a Missouri local podcast, but I'll throw you a curveball, Jackson. But
Oh,
for people that don't know me, I was born in Panama, the country, and last night Panama qualified to the World Cup for the second time in the
tough.
history of the country. So was really
They're winning it
excited.
all.
I'm sorry.
They're winning it all.
No. Our
No, no.
winning the World Cup for us is qualifying to it. So
Yeah.
it was a very emotional game. We played in Panama. Well, by we I mean they. Uh, so it was very, very interesting because we were tied against Suriname for the first place, but Suriname had the lead because they had to score more goals. So Suriname was tied 0-0, and we're up 2-0 at halftime. And then second half happened. Suriname started losing the game, so that meant that all we had to do is win the game, and we were in, and we won the game, and just really exciting. The World Cup this year is going to be in the USA, Canada, and Mexico. So, and one of the host cities is Kansas City. So, it could be a possibility that we could watch Panama in Kansas City, but who knows? So, just wanted to share that. And again, we're
Yeah.
Missouri local sports, but I thought this was big enough to share here.
Yeah. No, that's very fair. I mean, that's pretty cool, right? Like it's rare. You said second time, so pretty cool stuff. Pretty cool stuff if I do say so myself. One day I'll be able to say that the Jets made the playoffs, but I don't think that's ever going to happen. So, in my lifetime. Anyways, really good podcast. Thank you guys for listening. Just make sure to check out our Twitter account. I still call it Twitter. It is not X, it's Twitter. Go check out our Twitter account, 1821 Rose Sports. We will link our socials in this video, and we'll also be posting clips of this throughout. So, yeah, guys, thank you for listening. Hope you guys have a good day, and thank you for your support.